Today in Locked On Red Wings, Husso!
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. I am your host, Brian Fisher. I am a podcast producer for WWJ News Radio 950. And as you can see, I'm solo today. Scotty could not make it. He had a long drive to where he is going. So it's going to be me solo today. But you know what, guys? I think we're going to be just okay as the Red Wings beat the Nashville Predators 3-0 at home on the back of an incredible performance from Ville Husso, a 26 save shutout, I believe it was. I'll double check on that number right now. 26 save shutout for Ville Husso. But man, and I'm going to get into Ville Husso. He's going to be like the entirety of this first segment, probably. This was, Scotty and I talked a lot about what the team needed to do to win this hockey game, because we stated that the Nashville Predators were probably around the same quality hockey team that the Detroit Red Wings were, just on the opposite, heading in the opposite direction. The Red Wings are on the way up and the Predators were on the way down, but they're kind of meeting in the middle here at the moment. They've got great goaltending. They both have decent defenses. I mean, I would argue the Predators probably have better overall individual defensemen. I mean, they got Roman Josi, and he's incredible, and they traded for Ryan McDonough. What he's got left in the tank, he's had a phenomenal career. And they got a couple guys who can score goals. Obviously, Forsberg, Josi again can score goals, and Larkin in net has been solid as a backup, and he was again in this game. So it was a game where, having won 2 in a row, this was going to be a real test to see, can you beat teams that are of your quality or better, and not just beat up on the teams that are worse than you. And they went out there and they did that. It wasn't perfect. I'm not trying to say it was, but there was a lot of things to love in this hockey game. And first and foremost, guys, Ville Husso in net. He's had, maybe 2 bad games thus far this season. Since then, Ville Husso has been absolutely lights out for the Detroit Red Wings, and he has deserved every minute of ice time he's getting. And I know at some point you're going to have to sit him just so, he could get some rest, because everyone needs rest eventually. Give Nedeljkovic a start. Plus, Nedeljkovic could use the confidence booster, but he's playing so hot right now. I mean, as long as he says he's good to go, throw him out there against the Coyotes on Friday, especially against the Coyotes. You would think maybe that'd be a great game for Ned to get a start in, and he might. But Husso's been playing so well. And again, the Red Wings played well in a lot of different facets in this game. And I thought that the 5-on-5 was fairly even after the first period, but evidently not so much. Once you look at the numbers, the Predators actually at 5-on-5 pretty much dominated the scoring, shooting attempts, and the quality shooting attempts in this game. And Ville Husso stood on his side. Obviously, we know that. And this is one of those games too where you look at the total shot total against your goalie and you go, oh, we only stopped 26. We only stopped 26. Like that's decent, but that's not a ton. He wasn't really tested. No, he was tested in this game, because as I just stated, the Predators had the bulk of the quality scoring attempts, shooting attempts in this game. They dominated with a 57.31% through the entire game, and period by period, in the first 2 periods, they had a 76.96 and a 71.24% advantage in expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5. At 5-on-5, they dominated. So 26 shots against is deceiving, because the quality of the saves he was making in this game was cannot be overstated. He had a goal saved above expected. Remember, he allowed 0 goals in this game. How could you forget? He allowed 0 goals in this game. His goal saved above expected in this game, guys, 3.74. Based on the quality scoring chances and the quality shot attempts that the Nashville Predators had, they should have scored almost 4 goals in this game. And he allowed 0. Ville Husso is reason number 1 why the Detroit Red Wings won this hockey game. And every other reason is way down here. There were other great moments too. Obviously, Larkin's goal was a big moment. Hronek staying hot is another big moment. They killed off a huge 5-on-3 as well. Those are huge moments that help accumulate to this win. But none of it happens without Ville Husso being on the top of his game. He came into this game riding a .916 save percentage. I'd be very curious to see where it's at now after another 26 goals saved. 26 shots saved, rather. He is number one reason why this team is succeeding. He's the number one reason why at Thanksgiving, this team is 10-5-4 with a 3-game winning streak and third in the Atlantic Division. Ville Husso is the reason why your team is currently at Thanksgiving sitting in a playoff spot, not a wild card spot, a divisional playoff spot above the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sustainability is a big question. We can't lean on Ville Husso throughout the entire season to be the reason why this team wins hockey games. But to have a goaltender be able to go out there and steal you games is a huge proponent that helps teams make playoff pushes. And at Thanksgiving, to be 5 games above 500, if you look at just the win-loss record, and have a point percentage of, I don't know, I'm not going to do the quick math, but they have 10 regulation wins and 4 overtime losses. Their point percentage is well above the 500 mark. And Ville Husso is one of the number one reasons. Reason number 2 why the Detroit Red Wings are playing as well as they are is Dylan Larkin continues to prove that he deserves the bag. He is securing the bag every single game that he goes out there. He in this game scored the opening goal for the 14th time since the beginning of last season. That is the most out of any player in the NHL. 14 game opening goals. That takes into account the other team as well. 14. Dylan Larkin is the captain of this hockey team. And anyone who says he's not a 1C is wrong. It's not objective. It's not subjective. They're wrong. If you want to talk about whether or not he is like elite level, that's open for debate. Is he Connor McDavid? No. Is he Austin Matthews? Absolutely not. But he is Dylan freaking Larkin, and he is the captain of this team. He is the 1C of this team, and he, without Dylan Larkin's goal, the offense never gets it going in this game. He took a play that was broken in the neutral zone, got possession, skated down the wing, and just absolutely picked his corner over the shoulder of the goaltender. And just, Dylan Larkin is him. As Scotty would say, he is him. He's got that dog in him. And I'm getting comments in our YouTube channel, and when it comes to contract status, you're all allowed to have your own opinion. But Dylan Larkin is absolutely going to get somewhere between 9 and 10 million at least. I would not be comfortable going over 10, and I'll be freely admitting that. But if you think he's getting less than 9 million a year, especially with what comparables are out there, especially after the Islanders player Barzal signed his contract, you're out of your mind. He's getting between 9 and 10 million with the Red Wings, and then not with the Red Wings, it's somewhere else, especially if he hits free agency. If he hits free agency, which God forbid he does, I hope he doesn't, he's getting more than that. Dylan Larkin, every step of the way, he's off to an even better start this year than he was last year. Coming into this game, he had 22 points in 18 games played. He had another goal tonight. Now he's got 23 points in 19 games played. He's got 9 goals and 14 assists. That's a hotter start than he had to last year. And last year, he was over a point per game. The only reason he didn't finish over a point per game and smash his career high is because he got hurt. Dylan Larkin last season was proving that he can be that 1C. And this season so far, he's proved even more so. So Ville Husso's reason number 1 why this team won this hockey game. He put this team on his back, saving shot after shot after shot, 3.74 goals saved above expected. But Dylan Larkin, igniting the offense for another game, and something that he does night in and night out. Without Dylan Larkin as the spark plug of this offense, You don't win as many hockey games as you do, and that's just not subjective. That is an objective fact. They have a 3-game winning streak after a 4-game losing streak. They've come back. They've bounced back. And yeah, 2 of those wins were against bottom feeder teams. And that's why this game was important, to prove that you can win against teams that are of your caliber, if not better. And they did. And like I said, going into the Thanksgiving, well, not really a Thanksgiving Day break, but you're going into Thanksgiving in 3rd place in the Atlantic Division. 1 game shy of the 25. We're 25% of the way through the season already, guys. And the Red Wings are 3rd place in the Atlantic Division. And I'm not sitting here and saying they're going to make the playoffs because I know better. Their 5-on-5 play is still atrocious, and I'll talk about that in segment 2 coming up. But if not for the acquisitions made in the offseason, like Ville Husso, like Kubalik, like Perron, who didn't show up on the score sheet today, but without those types of acquisitions, and without Dylan Larkin having the motor and the drive that he does, this team is not in the position they are right now. And I'm just feeling good. It was a great game, guys. It was a great win. 3-game winning streak, man. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll continue this conversation on the other side of this break. But first, I do got to talk to you guys today about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number 1 source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. We've got it all at BetOnline. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. And if you love podcasts, well, you can find those over at BetOnline as well. Head to the website today or use that mobile device of yours to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. That's going to be the thing I miss the most about not having Scotty on this episode as we head into segment 2 here of Locked On Red Wings, is that he's not here to scream BetOnline at the end of the episode. Am I going to have to do it myself? Some awkward reverb? No. But yes, segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast, guys. And listen, Red Wings won 3-0. 3-game winning streak. That is phenomenal stuff. I love to see it. And they played pretty good. There are 2 other big things that happened in this game. And I touched on it in segment 1. That 5-on-3 penalty kill was absolutely huge. You had your top pairing defenseman go into the box nearly back-to-back. Almost 2 minutes on the penalty kill. Shutout and Seider. Well, Seider first, then Shutout. The 5-on-3 came out, and they killed it. And again, Husso making 2 back-to-back huge saves, which he became a trend as the night went on, was vital to that. But the defense played well as in that penalty kill as well. And I thought the defense played better as the night went on. So that was a huge moment as well, as that following the first goal that Dylan Larkin scored was a huge momentum swinger, I felt, for the Red Wings. I thought after that, they started playing a lot more aggressive in the offensive zone and with the forecheck. The other big moment, obviously, was when they got the power play goal of their own. We knew going into this game that Nashville is one of the most penalized teams in the league. We knew that. And we knew that their penalty kill was one of the best in the league, too. So it was one of those like, okay, well, they're really penalized, but they also are really good at killing off penalties. So it's almost like they can afford to. Well, they couldn't afford to in this game against the Detroit Red Wings, because that power play unit 1 and power play unit 2 for the Detroit Red Wings, when they don't score, they're still generating an amazing amount of chances, numerous amount of chances. PP1 especially, with Kubalik, Perron, and Larkin, which is ironically your line number 1 as well right now. And they generated a ton of offense in this game. But it was actually power play line 2 that got the goal. And Berggren, after getting the puck off a scrum with his family in attendance, passed that puck up to Filip Hronek, who's been on an absolute tear recently. Absolute tear. I mean, was it 2 goals in the game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, 1 goal against the San Jose Sharks? He scored another goal from the point, absolute rocket of a slap shot with really good accuracy. And that's the thing I want to highlight here too, because Hronek, previous to this season, and mind you, he's on pace for a career high in points, and he's, what is it? Now he had a goal and an assist in this game, I think. If I double check here, a goal and an assist in this game. So he had an assist on Dylan Larkin's goal as well, or maybe it was Rasmussen's empty netter. I can double check that one as well for you guys. Maybe. Possibly. I'm going to lose momentum. No. It was on Rasmussen's empty net goal at the end of the game. But Filip Hronek, his slap shot accuracy has improved immensely. And now in the season, coming into the game, he was 4th on the team in points with 14 in 18 games played. Now he's got 16 in 19 games played with 5 goals and 11 assists. He's on an absolute tear. And a lot of that couldn't have been achieved without him changing his stick. He's got a new curve. He's got a new blade shape. He's now rocking, and I confirmed this with a buddy of mine who is in the organization. So he works in the arena, not for the Red Wings themselves, but he works a lot with equipment. He confirmed that Filip Hronek has switched to a P28 curve, which is kind of insane that makes him more accurate in a sense, and has gone away from the square toe to a rounded toe. And that could be evidence as to why he's more accurate with his slap shots and his wrist shots, or it could just be a placebo effect. But either way, new stick, new look, new Hronek. He's red hot, or as a lot of people on the internet like to call him, red hot. He has been the best asset the Red Wings have had in the back end this season. I just said it. I just said that. Filip Hronek, who night in and night out, Scotty and I are critical of his defense. But when you pair him with Olli Maatta, who's a defensive safety net, that pair's been more effective than Shutout and Seider this season. And Seider's coming into his own. He's finally starting to turn it on. He was the best defenseman, I think, in this game. That or the second best defenseman in this game. No, he was the best defenseman in this game when it came to possession metrics, expected goals for percentage. He was the best. But Hronek has had the biggest impact. He's gotten the most points, and that's not everything. But like I said, with that defensive safety net of Olli Maatta, which is exactly why he was signed and paired with Filip Hronek, so they evened each other's abilities out. They've been the most effective pair for the Detroit Red Wings, and Filip Hronek is having a fantastic season, especially on the score sheet. Defensively, yeah, there's still a lot to be left, lot left to be wanted out of his defense for sure, but he has been great. Michael Rasmussen got the empty net goal at the end of the game. He just decided to shoot it. Good, because I didn't want him to risk that pass. And, he deserved it. I thought he played a really good game as well. Other shout-outs include, obviously, Perron. Pius Suter played really well again. I think he's a much better wing than he is a center. Jonathan Berggren, I thought played good. He got that assist. Adam Ernie had a good game, especially in the corners. I think he was really good at winning those puck battles. But overall, I thought it was a good game with exception to 5-on-5 play. I talked about it in the first segment, but outside the third period, the Predators rolled over the Red Wings at 5-on-5 when it came to shot attempts and quality shot attempts. Obviously, goals is what matters in the end. This game in particular, the 5-on-5 was pretty much all Predators. And the game was won off your special teams, which is normal, your goalie, which is normal, and your goals off the rush, which is exactly how you win every hockey game. And I'm not going to complain too much because you won and you're on a 3-game winning streak, and those are important assets to have in a successful hockey team. But I do want to see more out of the 5-on-5 because you cannot be getting only 30% share of shot attempts, not quality shot attempts, mind you, shot attempts in general in a given period. And they did that for 2 straight periods. In the third period, they had the advantage. It was a 58% expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5, but that doesn't make up for 23% expected goals for percentage and 28% expected goals for percentage in the first and second period. And not to say that the Predators were establishing great 5-on-5 opportunities either. They were getting a lot of opportunities off the rush as well. In the first period especially, it was a hard-hitting hockey game all game long. There was just tons of physicality. Seider laid out a guy in the third period. Had him hurting a little bit. Clean hit, though, thankfully. But you also have to get in the zone off a rush and then stay in the zone to establish that 5-on-5 presence and that oppression. And I'm not going to dwell on it too much because Scotty and I have talked about it on end that this is a problem for the team. But if you want to win games against teams that are above your caliber, because after this game against the Coyotes, it's going to start getting tougher again. You got Toronto on Saturday, and I think you have the Vegas Golden Knights next week as well. You got to start playing good 5-on-5 hockey. And those are going to be real tests to see what you can do. You've beaten good teams this season. Don't get me wrong. You beat the Devils off bad goaltending because they dominated you at 5-on-5, and you beat the Capitals twice. So you have beaten good teams, but to beat the really good teams, you got to play them well at 5-on-5. And the Red Wings, again, in this game, did not do that. They won off the back of, like I said, the things they do well. Special teams, perfect penalty kill, got a goal in the power play, scored a goal off the rush, great goaltending. Those are good supplemental things to have. But you got to have a basis of good 5-on-5 if you want to be a successful team in this league. So that was something that bummed me out. It wasn't perfect. Other thing that bummed me out is the second line. I don't think produced a lot of offense at all. First line, Larkin, Perron, and Kubalik play every shift at 5-on-5 like it's a power play. Line 2, however, they're as a line with 9 minutes on the ice together in this game, had an expected goals for percentage of 19%. Compare that to the top line of Larkin, Kubalik, and Perron. They had an expected goals for percentage of 76.35. So while you struck gold with this makeshift line 1, which is this now your second game in a row running Kubalik, Larkin, and Perron, because you ran that in the game against Columbus and, you beat them 6-1. You've struck gold there. Line 2 was your worst team on the ice in terms of producing scoring attempts and stopping scoring attempts for. And last night I talked about how Raymond, Kopp, and Bertuzzi, line 2 was more defensive than line 1. Not in this game. Expected goals against was 0.74, while Larkin's line was 0.14 for expected goals against. So line 2 was a disappointment for sure, but I'm not panicking too much because it does take time for people to find chemistry. And again, the Red Wings won 3-0. So in the end, flaws for sure. Absolutely. Same flaws we've seen. But Red Wings are hot right now. 3-game winning streak. 3-0, 3-0, third in the Atlantic Division, 10-5-4. Not much to be upset about. Really, not much to be upset about. I'm really happy, and I'm really excited that Ville Husso has turned a third-round draft pick into what is looking like a bona fide starter. Not even a 1A, just a bona fide starter. So that about does it for that conversation. But when we come back, I'm going to talk to you guys about the game on Friday, because I'm not going to, if I did a episode Friday, it would be recorded on Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to do that. So we'll be back in just a second to talk to you guys about the game on Friday against the Arizona Coyotes. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. So you're going back to LCA as your game 2 on a 5-game homestand to play the Arizona Coyotes. They're currently 8th in the Central Division, 6-9-2, one of the worst teams in hockey. Now, if this was Brian of last year, he would have come in here and said, you should walk all over the Coyotes. They're garbage. They're the worst, one of the worst teams in the league. And that last part still remains true. They are one of the worst teams in the league. But then Brian witnessed his Red Wings team lose 9-2, 9-1, something ludicrous like that. So I am not going to come here and tell you guys that the Red Wings should roll all over them, that they should trash the Coyotes, because I know better than that. This is the NHL. And more so than in any sport, luck plays a factor, because you're playing on ice. You got vulcanized rubber as a puck, so it bounces like crazy. And you got boards, so things don't go out of bounds to just stop play dead. There's a lot of luck involved, and there's a lot of skill involved. When you mix those two things together, you get games like the Arizona Coyotes just played, where they beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-0. So I don't want to come in here and undersell the Arizona Coyotes, despite them being last place in their division. Clayton Keller has 18 points in 17 games played. He is their leading scorer with over a point per game, despite being a -9. Then after that, you got Matthias Michelli, 11 points in 17 games played. So you already see a steep drop-off in production for the Arizona Coyotes after that first guy. Goaltending is a bit shaky. If you go with Carell, I'm gonna try my best here. Vejmelka and net, you have a save percentage of 909. 909 and a goals against per game of 3.23. If you get Connor Ingram, who's played just half as many games as Carell, at 6, he's got a goals against average of 4 and a save percentage of 885. So while Carell seems to be their more consistent goaltender in that, he's not by any means a world beater. He's not going to stonewall any particular team. And their defense gives up a ton of shots per game. I mean, if you have a .909 save percentage, but your goals against is almost at 3.5, that screams to me that your team gives up a lot of shots per game. And this shouldn't be news to anyone because the Red Wings, this is a game like the Columbus Blue Jackets where the Red Wings, oh my God, I'm going to say it even though I said I wasn't going to say it. The Red Wings, based on who they have on their roster, the fact that they're at home and they are riding a 3-game winning streak, should beat the Arizona Coyotes. I won't say dominate because I know better, but they should beat the Arizona Coyotes. This should become a 4-game winning streak. But like I said, it's hockey and anything is possible. The Arizona Coyotes this season, they're playing out of a college rink. So their home games don't even really feel like home games to them. So when you're talking about the Coyotes, there's not a lot to say besides go out there and do your dang job. This is a perfect game to get that 5-on-5 domination like you saw against Columbus. And then also do the things you're really good at, which is scoring off the rush, power play, penalty kill. And if you start Nedeljkovic, great. It'll be a bounce back game for him. If you don't, Husso is going to go in net. You know what you're getting. And you're going to get a goalie who's going to give you an opportunity to win every single night. This is a game that the Red Wings should win. I won't say dominate because I know better, but this is a game they should win and get a 4-game winning streak and just continue to roll as their schedule begins to toughen up. Now, when we talk about goaltending, there is other news as well. The Detroit Red Wings picked up off waivers, and I said it wasn't going to happen. I didn't say it on the airwaves, but I've been going back and forth with a couple of commenters who asked me if the Red Wings would pick up Magnus Hellberg off waivers from the Seattle Kraken. And if you guys remember, Hellberg had the sickest pads in the league, and he played 1 game with the Detroit Red Wings. They signed him from Europe last season with 20 games left to a 1-year contract. And that 1 year was last year, so it was only good for 20 games. He played the final game of the season. I think it was against the Devils. And had a save percentage that was sub 900 in that game. He didn't look awful. He didn't look great either. Neither team had anything to play for. It was whatever. They gave him a start because they signed him for 20 games. And they're like, well, we should. Like, you'd feel like crap if you didn't give him any time to play at all. But after that, he was gone. He was a UFA. He got picked up by the Seattle Kraken, got new incredibly sick pads, played a couple games, got put on waivers, got picked up by Ottawa, won 1 game, had sick pads, got put on waivers, got claimed again by Seattle, then got put on waivers, and is now claimed again by the Detroit Red Wings. Now, I'm seeing on Twitter, as I'm talking to you guys, that, and it's via Daniela Bruce, as we all know and love, she says that Lalone said that in conversations with Yzerman, so she said, Lalone said, Yzerman said, that they picked up Hellberg in case an injury happens. Not that an injury has happened or a trade is incoming, but because they're just future-proofing in case an injury does happen. And they do have roster space to carry a third goalie if they so choose. That's fine. I still don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think they just sent Bratstrom from Grand Rapids to the ECHL, but if you try to send Magnus Hellberg to Grand Rapids, he'd have to go on waivers, and then Seattle, who has now had him twice and clearly wants him in their organization, would just claim him back off waivers again, and at that point, they don't have to put him back on waivers to send him down to the AHL. So you claimed him, and he has to play. He doesn't have to play, but he has to be on the NHL roster, which is fine. But it doesn't hurt anything to have picked him up. I just don't necessarily know if it was necessary. But as far as that goes, I wonder if he's going to get a new set of sick pads for the Red Wings, or if he's going to go back with the Bryans he had last year, which were obviously the wing of the winged wheel going up as pads on his pads and his blocker and his glove, which looked phenomenal. Because he only got 1 game's use out of them. I don't know if he still has them or not. But that's something to consider as well. But Magnus Hellberg back with the organization. Oscar Sundqvist, 300 games played. So there you go, guys. Let me see here. Look over my notes. See if I missed anything that I wanted to bring up. But I'm pretty sure that about covers it for this one. I guess here's another one. Filip Hronek, he has 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points in his last 5 games played. So a little anecdote, another further anecdote about how well Filip Hronek's playing. But that about does it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you enjoyed solo Brian. And we will be back on Monday, recapping the Arizona Coyotes game, and then to preview the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So stay tuned. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.